All right, what's going on there, folks? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Technically, out here in California, about just about midnight here. Sunday, January 7th, 2024. Just Monday coming upon us here very soon. Latest activity on the Earthquake 3D globe looks like a point 0.9 into the California area. I do want to cover activity across the Kilauea volcano first. Weren't able to access the tilt meters earlier this morning in the update, so I wanted to just go over those real quick. Looks like we're taking a little dive here in terms of inflation here across the Kilauea volcano on the big island of Hawaii. Still elevated, though, in terms of long-term activity. We did peak out here just about a day or so ago, the highest level since 2018. So things are still building there across the Kilauea volcano. As far as earthquake activity, we can run a seismograph station here and look at that real quick. A couple earthquakes here in the last few hours. That's situated there across the big island of Hawaii. And we'll zoom in here to the Pacific real quick, see what's going on. Most of those earthquakes look like they are occurring around the Pahala area. Not a whole lot here across the Kilauea volcano for now. So I'm just kind of watching that. Either way, inflation continues there, with a slight declining here in the last day. All right, what else is going on out here? Did have some activity here north and south of New Zealand. Put New Zealand here in a prime spot for some earthquake activity with this movement kicking off here earlier today. Did see a couple earthquakes here in certain zones down south in a divergent boundary. Up north here in the subduction zone, this is the Tonga Trench. That is the latest earthquake there for a 5.3, occurring very shallow. Not a whole lot of deeper activity triggering right now. It's been a couple days since we've seen deeper activity, but looks like strain may be building up here across this plate boundary, so we'll keep an eye specifically on that region. As far as New Zealand in general, looks like a 3.0 occurring there on the EMSC model globe. But for now, it remains in that zone of uncertainty between these somewhat active regions here. So we'll keep an eye on New Zealand. Also, notice this area here across the Vanuatu, Solomon Islands, Papua New Guinea area. That's a quiet zone. It's been quiet like that for at least 24 hours, so we'll continue to watch that as well. These quiet zones do not last for long in that area. Most of our movement here today has been cluttered across the Indonesia Islands area, stretching up across the Java Trench with a lot of forward migration here across that plate boundary. Still seeing a handful of earthquakes up there in Japan as well. Looks like a 3.7 there away from the swarm, a little bit north. Well, I shouldn't say swarm, it's aftershock activity from that 7.5 over a week ago now. Kurokamachaka looks pretty quiet. Not a whole lot going on up there across the Kurokamachaka for now. It is awfully quiet. Up into the Alaska area, handful of earthquakes, but again, nothing major going on. Look at the 2.5 map and above, shows, well, not a whole lot of activity. Pretty quiet up there for the most part. Through the Pacific Northwest here around Mount St. Helens, Mount Hood even seen a little earthquake activity here, 1.1 earlier this morning. No major changes, though, across the Cascade volcanoes. And, earthquake activity does kick up there from time to time across many volcanoes. The Cascade volcano range up there happens quite often, but nothing major going on. Far as Northern California, we did have this little earthquake underneath Lake Almanor here, 2.8. This has been a source of some earthquake activity here over the past year on a newly discovered fault zone here across the area of Lake Almanor, just south of Chester. I went up there and checked it out earlier last year just to see if I could see if there's any. There was I think there was a 5-pointer up here. I wanted to check and see if there was any damage, but there was no damage I could see. But most of this activity occurring underneath the lake area. For the rest of California, well, starting to light up once again here across the plate boundary along the creeping segment of the San Andreas Fault at 1.5 near Pinnacles, and also down south here Getting a couple different swarms outside of, well, it's out here in the mountain ranges here, it looks like. In between the Elsinore Fault and the San Jacinto Fault Zone. Handful of ones out there today. Well, within the last couple hours. And generally small microquake activity here in the last 24. But we'll continue to watch Southern California. You know, it's been a couple days since that 4-pointer struck out here close to the San Andreas Fault. I'll give it till tomorrow, and then we'll take the earthquake watch down. But you know, there's always a leeway, so to speak, in terms of the days following, you know, a quake and a potential foreshock type of event. And we'll just watch it tonight and tomorrow and see how it plays out. But for now, just a handful of earthquakes out there in Southern Cal. Texas really rocking and rolling once again here. Latest earthquake shows a 1.5. A lot of pressure going on out here across these oil fields. And the North American plate is always almost under strain across the area as far as the general map here. These earthquakes tend to hit these areas of weakest, kind of like the weakest points in a way. And the oil fields have, you know, there's been a lot of talk about this recently in terms of earthquake activity and the relation to the oil in wastewater disposal ponds and fracking operations out there. And there's no doubt been a huge spike in earthquake activity since these operations began. So that will continue. Earthquake activity will be continuing, and eventually all these other areas out here will be hit as well. Movement across the, well, this is northern Arkansas. Little swarm of activity occurring out here earlier today. That's about it. I mean, there's really nothing of too much concern out there. Just a handful of earthquakes for now, but we'll continue to watch that. One earthquake way up north here in earthquake country of Wisconsin. Not really earthquake country up there, is it? But they did have a 2.5 earlier this morning near Mole Lake. Rest of the eastern portion of the country looks pretty quiet. South America got a handful of earthquakes down there as well. Generally speaking, though, if we look at the earthquake 3D globe here, there is a lot of red circles out here on the globe indicating some older movement. Most of the newer activity that we've seen here on the globe is centered around the Indonesia Islands area and up through the Java Trench. So it looks like things may be wanting to pick up here across this area. We'll keep an eye on those regions. And, of course, we got these quiet zones out here as well. So let's see what else is out there. The Atlantic Ocean and Iceland. Well, let's go double check, see what's going on out there in Iceland. No new update, I'm sure. Last update here was a couple days ago. We'll check back tomorrow morning for their latest update. As far as earthquake activity around the Iceland area, let's see what we got. A little swarm of activity up north here across this rift zone. See that? That's pretty. That's actually fairly impressive there. Goodness, what's going on up there? Is there maybe some volcanic activity? It looks like, or just general stress activity from the plates. Either way, some elevated movement well north of Iceland here. Let's see, around the Grindavik area, kind of tapering off here in the last 24 hours. Across that area of Grindavik, this thing's kind of glitchy. Whenever I click on an earthquake over here, it wants to take me to it without even clicking on it. I mean, it's just got to hover over it, and it does that. So, yeah, we'll continue to watch this. No major change right now across the Grindavik area. But inflation tells us, or at least the GPS situation up there tells us that inflation is continuing. This is the last couple months of inflation. Notice since the deflation event, the eruptive activity there and fissure activity outside of the Hagefell region, north of Hagefell, we've been steadily increasing. And it looks like, let me go check this out here. That's a little huge on the map. There's our leveling off there a little bit a couple days ago, but we're still up there. And we're above that previous level that we've seen back in December right before the eruptive activity. So things are building, folks. They are building fairly nicely, and I think we'll see something happen there soon, just a matter of time. All right, space weather activity. Let's move on, see what's going on out here. Quite a few sunspots, active regions. They may not be throwing out large flares right now, but there's a potential. 99% chance for a C flare, M flare 45, X flare around 10% chance, and this newer region down here, 3540 and 3541, are looking fairly complex here. They look a little bit more disorganized, though, from this morning's update, but we'll still keep an eye on that area. And hard to say with this area right here. I mean, it's a little scattered all about. It just looks like a mess of sunspot regions. But overall, we'll definitely watch that and see if we can't see some flaring activity. Not a huge threat, but we'll definitely watch it. No major solar storms have been produced, so therefore no major auroras in the forecast. There's a visible disk. Lots of sunspots out there, but they got to be complex, right? If we want to see activity. Severe weather is looking more likely here as we head into the Monday time period. Now, this is from the Storm Prediction Center, right? And they're calling for some serious potential today, Monday, right? We're now into Monday, January 8th. This is for the Monday forecast, valid for Monday. So you got to be weather aware tomorrow or today. I haven't gone to bed yet, so technically it's still in my mind that today's tomorrow. But we are at Monday right now. So later today, when the sun comes up and things start cooking and these storms start brewing, we got a decent threat of tornadoes out there. At least you want to definitely pay attention out there today, folks. These things can pop down without warning. 10% hatched area. That's a big probability out here for a large population. We're talking about almost 5 million people underneath this hatched area. And that hatched area is a 10% or greater probability of an EF2 to an EF5 tornado within 25 miles of a point. But not only that area, you have to be prepared with it, within this range as well, the 5% and the 2% zone. But the 10% is the area of greatest concern for severe weather in terms of tornado potential later today, Monday. Also, a pretty big windbag event as well. Significant signature potential out here. And that could be straight line winds. They can do just as much, well, not quite as much damage as a tornado, but still, straight line winds can definitely stir things up out there. Hail threat, generally 15% looks like down here across southeast Texas and Louisiana. But goodness, this is kind of a big deal. If you're out there tomorrow in this region, heads up. Keep your weather radio on, or maybe a local FM radio station, news, TV, weather. Just keep something on. That way, you guys are at least prepared. Because a lot of people think it's never going to happen to them, and it does. So, weather radio or FM local radio station, or the TV. Your local channels. They always put out an emergency broadcast system alert when it comes to tornado warnings out here, but got to pay attention to that tomorrow. Big time event today, Monday. I keep saying tomorrow, but you guys get it. It's for Monday the 8th, and that is due to this low pressure system out here. Going to be spinning up stuff here as we head into later Monday. It says Tuesday up here, but this is the UTC time. This is about 6 o'clock on Monday for that Z time. Notice that low pressure system there pulling up a lot of moisture and potential rotation with those storms that would be kicking up. It's Pretty powerful low pressure system out there, that's for sure. That will work its way eastward as we head into the middle of the week. The west coast gets some storm systems coming in, and then a lot of colder air dipping down into the country as we head about the rest of January. And it's that's a ways out there, but we have some cold air coming in. That's a certain, right? That is a certainty. And let's see what we got here for the outlook, right? 6 to 10 day outlook. What does it call for? A lot of colder air coming down for the majority of the country. And that is valid for the 13th to the 17th. Lots of cold air coming in. A lot of precipitation out here as well. So this is potentially above average precipitation in the green. Below down here in Texas and into portions of the New Mexico and Arizona area. That's a 6 to 10 day. When we look at the 8 to 14 day outlook, a lot of that colder air is going to be shifting eastward, but it's still hanging around. Warmer conditions out there across California mean more precipitation for us. So 8 to 14 day forecast calls for above precipitation out here. That's a January 15th to January 21st time period. And potentially below average precipitation there for a good swath here of the country. But I'm more concerned here where I'm at. California definitely needs some more rain out here, that's for sure. All right, what else we got here, folks? I think that's about it. I'm going to call it a night. I know it's a little late for an update. I was hanging out here with Missy Mimi's, enjoying some adult time, right? When the kids go to bed, things are quiet. You can relax. We can watch a movie and just hang out. And so I've definitely been staying up later than I normally have, but that's to enjoy, the quiet time, the peaceful time here, because kids can make it crazy, let me tell you. All right, folks, I'm out of here. Have yourself a good day. Again, on Monday, which is today, Monday, stay weather aware if you're out there in that area of the country where the severe weather potential is happening. There's so much that happens, and a lot of people just not paying attention. Don't want to become a statistic. It's best to be weather aware. Keep your eyes on the sky always. All right, folks, have a good night. We'll catch you guys back here a little bit later on.